So this guy has just arrived and he was gelded 7 days earlier. He's had a very intensive life. He's been graded with, stud books, which is quite a rigorous test. I think it's a 100-day test or something. And you can see he's not, this isn't a horse I want to start training. You can see he's not terribly happy. And what do we do? So I think what the owners are wanting is him to come out of his very sort of intense life and have a nice time, which suits me fine because that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in having horses feeling good about what they're having to do and being able to progress, being ridden in the direction that suits them and suits the rider and makes everything easy. So I don't want to put a square peg in a round hole. Not that he couldn't carry on doing the life he was doing, but to me this is a horse that needs a little bit of help to feel a little bit better. So if you were being trained by me, what is the first thing I would do? And well, the first thing I would do would be thinking about how can we help him feel okay? This is a horse that's in a state of stress. And to me, I wouldn't even be considering the actual sort of training at the moment. I just want to see what I can do about helping him feel more comfortable. And you could see he's got a few sort of behaviours there that, I don't know if you notice, he whipping his head around. He's built that up over the years to sort of, I think it's a sort of release of stress, or there's some stress connection to it. And I, don't like saying that. And I wouldn't want to ride a horse that feels like that. So back to the drawing board. There, he just did that sort of chucking his head round. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm observing him. He's frustrated. When he's frustrated, he bucks. There, he just did his head thing. There, he's bucking. He's looking into the stable where the other horse is. And that's his response, is that if you took that wall down, I think he'd be in with the other horse. I think that's where he would go. I don't think he'd go away from the other horse. So I feel, we need to sort of address that and think about that side of things. The important thing when I come and say hello to him is that I'm actually sort of listening to him a bit. So I'm not going up to him and saying, you come here, I haven't got a head collar on. I'm just going in, this is my first time just to see, who have I got? Introduce myself to him, and I'm encouraging him to come to me. I'm not doing anything particularly fancy. I'm just moving my body around, seeing if I can encourage him over. I haven't got food on me and don't want to do anything about food. And when he's come to me, I probably should just be stroking him here, but I've gone into some scratches, which I think he, takes some value from at this moment, although it changes with him. And here he's snuffling me, so I don't want to encourage that. So I'm just positioning myself to try and discourage it, but I won't tell him off. And I've stopped stroking him or scratching him because I don't want to reinforce that behaviour. So we always think, how can we make our horses feel more comfortable? Can we get them, forget training? Can we just have them happy for the 23 hours that we're not training them? So putting them out in, outside is a good start, making sure that they're not stressed because they're on their own. So I always make sure there's another horse with them. And just seeing how he behaves. He's actually pretty relaxed with this horse. He doesn't, he's not sort of being too stallion-y in this video, but I had to take the other horse away later on because he'd just be rearing up at the fence. So at the moment everything's new to him. This is the first time out, so he's not quite sure, and maybe that's why that behaviour is not coming out at this moment. But it's nice the way he's walking around. He's checking out his environment. He's not just hanging to one side of the round pen, so that's all sort of quite good to observe. He's happy to get down and roll. So I'm quite happy with that little moment and that first interaction with going out with seeing another horse out here and being in the round pen. So it's also good, there's some bollards out there. I've actually put a few little nuts in there, and he's a curious horse. He's got lovely sort of behaviours about him. So there's a lot of real positives. He appears to be quite confident and quite brave. So those are good things to observe at the beginning. But the thing I really want is I want him to feel comfortable around me and what I do to him, because that's basically what's happening with horses when we're riding them. We're doing things to them. and I want to introduce myself and make sure that I'm an okay person, and does he want to be with me? So to start with, I am using scratches, and he's not that keen on scratches. I sort of had a good day in the stable, and now he's sort of not quite so keen. I really want options for him, which is why I had the bucket there. I don't want to make him be scratched. And he's quite irregular with his behaviours around other horses. Depending on the horse, it depends on how he behaves. And we obviously don't want him rearing up, getting his feet over the top. So we've got to try and help him feel more comfortable in the stable and with different types of horses. So once I start feeling confident, I get him out in the field. He has actually got horses next to him, although you can't really see them in this video. And it is a bit alarming when you first put a horse out. He hadn't been out for a year. So, you know, I've prepared him as best I can before turning him out. And he's got horses beside him. And this is just a bit I thought of him having a canter round. So back to me, how do I want him to feel about me? And I really want, this is where I feel I feel a lot of horses, and with this horse you could see at the beginning with the bucking, I feel there's a lot of anger and resentment. That's the feelings he gives me about us. He's not frightened, he's quite bold. So I am starting off with just, is he happy for me to brush him? And actually using a brush is sometimes better than using your hand. I have some horses that don't actually like me touching them with my hand, but they don't mind me touching them with something else. So you can start with whatever you like, but this is the setup I've got here. Is he's got hay, he's got hard feed, and I am actually connecting this with food. I've got a very low level food. I've got some chaff, there might be the odd pony nut in there. He's got a proper breakfast there that he can eat. And when I feel the time is right, you know, I'm not going to call him now because he's got his head in this bucket, but when his head comes out of the bucket, I'm going to just see if I can encourage him to me. And for me, this is a really important part of the training we do with food, is that I'm not sat there with sugar lumps and polos and him being in a round pen with nothing else to do. Of course he's going to come over to me. I want to make this as balanced as possible. I want to try and make it so that this guy wants to come with me because he's having a good experience, not because I'm the best option. So that's what we're trying. I want to make, you know, I want to create a horse who really loves riding. And if I make him overexcited for food now, I'm going to cause a real problem in the future. So we want them calm. You know, the training is all about calmness so that he can figure problems out. This guy gets frustrated with humans. Like when you're leading them, I haven't got a video of him leading, but he hates the pressure on his head collar. If you try and woe him using pressure, it really upsets him. His immediate reaction is to sort of slightly start fighting it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm thinking, right, here's an animal who actually wants to fight me. And I want to reintroduce myself as just a completely different feeling for him than any training he's had in the past. And it's no criticism of any training he's had in the past. He's had some phenomenal riders ride him. I mean, way better riders than me. But I just feel for him, with the lifestyle and all the rest of it, we just sort of needed to reset and start again, reintroduce ourselves to them, and you know, say, right, this is where you're going to be. This is how I'm going to look after you. I really want you to feel really comfortable with the life you've got. And then I want to introduce myself being a positive thing for you, something you're interested in, that you wake up in the morning and you think, great, there's Connie. What are we doing today? And so what I'm pleased about here is we've now got it so that he is enjoying the scratches. The scratches didn't really cut it at the beginning of the training. I only have a short window in which to train these, although this owner was incredibly generous and I had him for a really decent amount of time, which I really needed. But here he's coming to me. He you know, I have paired myself up with food initially. And now I've helped him feel better about the scratches, so he'll come to me for the scratches. So horses need to be able to have the chance to have relationships just like we do. One of the most important things for horses is relationships. That's basically the bottom line for survival. It's the fact that they do live in groups, and they have I think they have, you know, quite a sophisticated structure within the group. And we want him to feel comfortable with other horses. As you can see here, he's not a terrible, stallion-y behaviour. He to me, this is more than play or more than care or whatever they're doing with each other. I feel they are having a conversation, a bit like you or I. That's what I feel about horses. I feel that there is real depth to the communication, and I see it time and time again when I'm training them. I feel this. And so, this is a really important part for me. I have got to keep him segregated because he's still got stallion hormones, because he's only recently been gelded. I would like eventually to get him out with another horse, but I don't have the horses all that long, so that only time will tell on that front. So for me, this video initially was going to be a training video, and then in actual fact it sort of turned into something different, which is the importance of what I call downtime. All the time you're not training, how is your horse feeling? How are you looking after him? When you first approach him and say, right, we're going riding, what's his state of mind and what is his well-being? So I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you did enjoy the video, you might be interested in my online courses. They're 12 weeks long. They're aimed at people who've got a problem with their horse or want to start their horse or just want to learn to use positive reinforcement. This is a young horse that had been with me 6 months previous. He's a 4-year-old and he's literally arrived this day, and this is him feeling very anxious and not very happy. He wants to be out. There's some other horses in the field, and this is just an example of something I might teach you on the course, and I've just called him over. So I haven't seen him for 6 months and still the training seems to have stuck, so that's all good. And then I just do a little bit of loose lunging. That's one of the processes would teach you. And anyway, if it is something that might interest you, then if you go on the link below and book a Zoom with me, because we do a bit of an interview, because there's no point you booking on the course if I don't think that you're going to get a lot out of it. God, this sounds really choosy, but I just want people who are really keen. You've got to be really keen on the training to join the course, because it can be quite hard work training the horses, and there's only 10 places on each course, but I'm running them quite often. But anyway, if you're interested, then give us a bell. Thank you.